All right, this is important. Meet Kevin, aka Kevin Paffrath. Paffrath? Anyway, Meet Kevin is running for governor of California. Not in an ironic way, but he's running in a serious political campaign. He's going for it, folks. Gavin Newsom, the current governor of California, is up for recall, and Kevin wants to replace him. This is huge. As someone who does business in California and owns real estate in California, this matters to me. I mean, this could have a meaningful impact on so many people, even if you don't live in California. We are going to talk about Kevin's chances of winning, and more importantly, specifically, we are going to talk about what Kevin's ideas are for the state of California. This is where I let you know if you're a fan of Kevin and you're just looking for a Kevin hug box. I'm not holding back in this video. I like Kevin too. I mean, I've been watching his videos since the very start, but I think it's important that we have a serious discussion and, kick the tires around a little bit on this one because his ideas could transform California. This will be an honest review of Meet Kevin's political campaign for governor of California. Let's do this.
Subscribe.
Okay, so Meet Kevin, in the off chance that you don't know who he is, he's a YouTuber, he's a real estate investor, a stock market investor, a businessman, and a self-made millionaire. On his YouTube channel, he offers financial entertainment and education. I will say, Kevin is a good guy, but he's a fierce competitor. I would not want to be on his bad side. I can remember when he set his sights on Grant Cardone. Man, did he go after it. He researched and dug up so much dirt on that man, it was next level. And I know he's doing the same thing with Gavin Newsom right now. Kevin is also one of those people who always seems to be one step ahead of his competition. I don't think it's any accident that he started his campaign with a bit of a controversy. Having called Gavin Newsom a Weanie Baby ultimately brought some attention to his campaign. It even landed Kevin a position on the Fox News homepage. Speaking of being one step ahead, Kevin is running as a Democrat. Firstly, if you're a conservative, and don't get hung up on the Democrat label. I don't think Kevin views himself as a Democrat or a Republican. Kevin is someone who will look at each of the issues and think outside the box. He doesn't care what the political ideology says he should think. He just wants the best solution. If I had to describe him, I would say he's fiscally conservative and socially liberal. Kevin, if you just so happen to see this, correct me if that's not right. Kevin knows that there are a ton of voters in the state who will not vote for someone regardless of policy if that person has an R by their name. Guys, Kevin has a real chance here. I mean, it's still a long shot, but it's not at all out of the realm of possible. Something else, I've heard some people say, Kevin is only running as a joke to build his political brand and ultimately bring more traffic to his YouTube channel. You know what? I don't think so. I don't think that's the case. I believe for a long time, Kevin has been genuinely disappointed with how things have been going in California. He sees people leaving this great state, including his YouTube friend, Graham Stephan. I think Kevin really wants to make a difference. He's the real deal. All right, let's talk about some of the things I think will help and hurt Kevin's chances. His massive YouTube following is basically free advertisement, which could offset some of his campaign's financial disadvantages. I also think his platform has a lot of common sense ideas that will broadly appeal to many who are tired of the status quo. These are all good things. All right, but some disadvantages, or things that might be leveraged against him, include having failed at a construction business attempt. He talks about this. He openly admits that it lost him $1 million. It's a great topic for a YouTube video, but not a great look when you're running for governor of California. Also, there was that time he dressed up in an elf suit and pranked Grant Cardone. Yeah, that's also not a great look. Furthermore, older folks are going to have a hard time connecting with some of his colloquial speech patterns.
Oh man, your boy Kevin just lost lots of money. Here we go, come on, push it, find the dim, find the dim.
I love it, don't get me wrong. But 1/5 of California's population is over the age of 60, and another fifth can't even vote because they're too young. So he needs to appeal to as broad of an audience as possible. But let's talk about his ideas. We need to talk about, are they good? Kevin has a 20-part plan outline in a YouTube video. Okay, we're gonna summarize it here, but I will also link to the full video below. So let's jump right into it. Part 1, no state income tax for earnings of $250,000 and below. I like it. We've been losing so many people who are just leaving California, and high taxes is one of the biggest drivers of that issue. However, after you go above $250,000, Kevin wants to have a flat tax of 5 to 7%. This is different than the progressive tax we have right now. And there's an argument against a flat tax that basically says with a flat tax, you can't redistribute the money from the wealthy to the less wealthy. So, I guess you have to decide if that's something that matters to you. I should note, however, that there are already 8 states implementing some sort of flat tax. Luckily, over half the taxes in California paid comes from those making over $500,000 anyway. But his plan will lower their taxes too by quite a bit, so I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But taxes in California are kind of tricky. Let me explain something to you. A lot of those in California government have a built-up frustration regarding something called Prop 13. Prop 13 was the result of runaway property taxes and a subsequent tax revolt. So Prop 13 is this. Basically, it's a limit to the amount that property taxes can be raised. Initially, the taxes are set to the property's purchase price, but for each year after that, a property's tax can only increase by 2% or the rate of inflation, whichever one is lower. So in California, if you're going to try to get rid of income tax without also addressing Prop 13, it's not going to garner a lot of support from other politicians. But the everyday people of California, for the most part, love Prop 13. We do not want to lose it. The biggest problem with this whole tax thing is that the governor cannot, let me repeat that, cannot unilaterally restructure our state income tax policy. With a California state legislature that includes both the state assembly and state senate who are notorious for loving high taxes, I would say Kevin has his work cut out for him at the least. This is not to mention that the voting bloc of California always gets bamboozled into voting for higher taxes. Here's how the propositions will read.
Firefighters and teachers are important, so let's keep them funded. Vote yes for higher taxes.
Yeah, because there's nothing else in the state budget that we can cut other than firefighters and teachers. Same thing every year. And then the voters,
I like firefighters and teachers. We better vote yes on that.
it's so frustrating. All right, part 2, housing. In short, we don't have enough homes. And Kevin has ideas to try and bring about more housing. It's a pretty detailed plan. He wants to make the building permit process easier and free. He wants to make it so builders can be approved easily and quickly, statewide. And this is a great idea. However, he wants the state to take control of the entire process. I kind of think local counties know how their cities are planned and should have the final say about what gets built in and not built in their own backyard. Overall though, making the process for building easier is a fantastic idea. The building and safety departments are way too slow, so, clean it up, Kevin. And he continues on with the plan for housing. He goes into a lot of simplification and streamlining all parts of the building process, which is absolutely what we need. He wants to make it so remodels can happen immediately and not be held up. We don't want remodels waiting for multiple department approvals. So it's good. Basically, it boils down to more housing, more supply. Great plan. Part 3, fund housing with a new fee. Fee? Whoa, I don't like fees. Okay, Kevin wants a fee of $300 to $600 per housing unit owned. That's what he wants to impose on homeowners. Yikes. Sounds like that card you get in Monopoly that nobody wants. He argues that it will be okay because, people will be paying no income tax. And that will more than make up for this. It's not likely that the no income tax plan will be approved. However, I could see California passing this new fee. There is already something similar to it called Measure O in the city of Antioch in California. And, it's just theft as far as I'm concerned. So there's a big no from me on this one, Kevin. Your plans for increased productivity and increased population will more than make up for the fiscal gap. You don't need to introduce new fees for homeowners. All right, part 4, transportation. He wants to kill the California Bullet Train project. This project has been going on for years. It's a massive boondoggle. So killing that project is great. Instead of the bullet train nonsense, he wants to work with Elon Musk to build tunnels. These tunnels could have underground roadways. This will help alleviate some of the traffic congestion. I have no idea how feasible this really is, so I'm gonna reserve comment, but I'm sure it can't be worse than the bullet train scam we've been paying for years that even my grandkids won't get to ride. I'm all for it, let's try something new. Part 5, future schools. This is basically his biggest idea, and he brings it up. The whole thing is sort of tied into future schools. He wants to convert some high schools and community colleges into 4-year future schools. I think the idea is that we need to refocus people on vocational occupations. In the process, we can provide opportunity for folks who otherwise perhaps cannot afford education, and we can have these people suddenly having a profitable skill, and that's a good thing for California. Furthermore, future schools will tailor the curriculum around exactly what a person needs for their in-game career. Not every career needs advanced math, for example. This would allow people to be ready for the workforce with a marketable skill as early as 18 years old. I gotta say, folks, I really like where his head is at with this. But let's look at something. There are already so many post-secondary schools out there. Just look at this. A school for welding, cosmetology, even how to own and run your own golf course. You name it, there's a school for it in California. If you really think about the depth of what's being proposed here, first of all, 1, what happens to all these existing post-secondary schools? 2, how can any single college provide the breadth and diversity that all of these existing schools already provide? Hear me out. I think instead of trying to transform community colleges, Kevin should be looking at something called the BPPE. Right now, the BPPE is a toxic layer of bureaucracy. They are driving post-secondary schools out of business. What he should do is transform the BPPE into something that fosters educational opportunity for those who want to enter his future schools. I get it, these are private schools, but they could be offered public funding to participate. This would unlock so many resources to help this idea of future schools. This would get people on an educational fast track, and the existing network of California post-secondary educational schools could then be integrated into the process, unlocking nearly unlimited possibilities. Think about it, Kevin. Part 6, homelessness will be eliminated. Honestly, his plan for how exactly he's going to accomplish this is a bit frail. It seems the proposed solution is mostly focused around the idea that people want to work. While I appreciate Kevin's optimism, I think in this regard he's a bit out of touch with this sector of society. I mean, Kevin is one of the most prolific individuals basically ever, and he passionately works 18 hours per day and loves it. So I get why he can't quite compute that many people are the polar opposite of that. The truth of the matter is, homelessness is a very complex issue with multiple problems therein to solve. It's not just one issue that can quickly dissolve after declaring it a state of emergency and throwing some money at it. After all, we have already been subsidizing it, and subsidizing the issue has only seemed to bring more of it. Unfortunately, Kevin, we need a little more meat around the details of your plan for this one. All right, part 7, GDP growth. He wants to work directly with businesses, figure out what they need to be successful. He wants to run California like a business. Hey, okay, awesome. Part 8, gun safety. He wants to improve gun safety by expanding legal gun ownership, but require more training for the expanded licensing. Start allowing concealed carry licenses as well. I think basically what this boils down to is he supports your Second Amendment rights. Okay, part 9, carbon tax or cap and trade. These aren't the same things. He wants one of these to help fight climate change. He's going to incentivize companies who pollute to green up their operations. Okay, I get it, but we have to be careful with this one too. Firstly, giving the California EPA increased ability to decide what is a violation scares me. But furthermore, how can we measure this fairly? Some companies intrinsically produce more pollutants than others. For example, oil refinement can never be as green as cupcake production. Therefore, a carbon parts per million test will always find that oil refineries are bigger violators than cupcake producers, and oil refineries will always be the losers who get punished with a carbon tax. We need to normalize the testing somehow. And in general, a carbon tax can lead to increased prices for the customer, not to mention companies leaving California altogether for more friendly business environments, which is the opposite of what Kevin wants. And he says he's open to carbon tax or cap and trade. Well, those aren't the same. It's cost certainty versus environmental certainty. I would love for Kevin to align on exactly which correction of this particular market failure he supports. Part 10, the DMV and virtual IDs. Privatize the DMV. Oh man, I love this idea. The DMV is one of the worst parts about living in California. Also, he wants virtual driver's licenses. Yes, yes, yes. Welcome to 2021. QR-based driver's licenses. Awesome. Friggin' plastic. Hey, that's another green thing right there. No more plastic driver's licenses. Speed cameras everywhere. Wait, what? No. This is hands down the worst idea so far, Kevin. Cameras are money-making, not life-saving. We can increase road safety through better car technology and better medical technology, not cameras. Cameras cause people to incessantly take their eyes off the road to check their speed. Also, only a uniformed officer should be issuing tickets, and only after properly identifying someone. Count me out on the automated legal fines. No thanks. Part 11. Make handy persons become licensed, plus license other vocational skills. Again, there's already a BPPE that oversees all of this. Part 12. virtual payment portal, and state of California will allow payments using crypto. All right, I love this idea, but we're far into fantasy land with this one. The California government already takes online payments, but they will never take crypto. Not at least while big banks and the Federal Reserve and the US Treasury have so much to lose by giving crypto the level of legitimacy this would give to the uncontrolled currencies. Again, I love this idea, but I just don't see this even being close to reality. Part 13, welfare and medical reform. I guess what we're gonna do here is we're gonna force these people who are on welfare or state-funded medical into future schools. They need to do this in order to maintain their benefits. You'll notice that future schools seem to be the linchpin for almost all of these ideas. That's fine, I get it. If we can get people to be more integrated into society and be more productive, then, let's do it. But then he goes on to blame California for failing welfare recipients. It's just me, but I hate blaming the system for stuff. I mean, first of all, how much do individual choices come into play here? Let's not try to convince folks they are victims and California owes them, but, I digress. Part 14, expedite the processing of the child tax credit. Furthermore, incentivize young people to attend future schools by increasing the child tax credit if the young people choose to attend a future school. But this one makes no sense to me at all. I mean, a child tax credit goes to the parents. So how does a 14-year-old choosing to attend future school get incentivized? Sounds like you're incentivizing the parents to push their kids into future school, even if it's not in the child's best interest. This proposal needs a little bit of work, Kevin. All right, part 15, community policing. This one involves putting inmates who are convicted of nonviolent crimes to work, cleaning up the community. This is known as penal labor, and it already happens. The California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation oversees this. In fact, 1,500 prisoners helped our firefighters during the crazy California wildfires we had. And then he talks about these inmates going on to do some community policing. So you want lawbreakers to oversee law enforcement. Yeah, I got nothing. Part 16, civil litigation reform. He wants to increase the small claims court limit from $10,000 to $100,000. And future schools can license small claims counsel. So people can be trained to be lawyers light or almost lawyers. Lawyers that can only help people with small claims cases. I get it. The idea is to increase access to justice for all. But the problem is our small claims courts are already overfilled. Without additional resources to accommodate the increase in cases on an already burdened small claims system, access to justice will not win out. Also, claims that might not have been worth bringing to superior courts might now suddenly be worth bringing to small claims court due to the increased ease of bringing a lawsuit. This could lead to a more litigious society, not a less litigious society, and nobody wants that. Part 17, he wants to reduce gas prices by eliminating gas pump excise taxes. He also supports fracking. Hey, we pay the highest gas prices in the union, so I say, praise Kevin for this. Part 18, allow casinos. I love this idea. Yes, yes, yes. Why should Vegas across the border get all the benefit from casinos? What are we doing? Let's make some gorgeous resorts with lively casinos right here in California. And imagine the delicious buffets. California should be a destination. Gambling bad. Okay, I get it. You know what? The pros far outweigh the negatives in my opinion. Part 19, loosening any existing cannabis restrictions such as lowering the cannabis smoking age. Perhaps even have cannabis dispensaries in the newly formed California casinos. Whatever. Part 20, a California transition bond that California investors can buy. This will help to raise money for many of the aforementioned ideas. All right, pretty much that's the 20-point plan, folks. Okay, to summarize, the main ideas here are to run California like a business, promote opportunity for all via future schools, and to design a more business-friendly environment. Also, we have to focus on wealth building for all, help everyone as much as possible to escape poverty. Overall, I love it, and these ideas are light years beyond anything Gavin Newsom has ever come up with. There are a few things I think Kevin missed, things I would have liked to see as part of his platform. First of all, we should make it easier and cheaper to incorporate in California. Why does it cost $900? And why must the process still assume that businesses are run as they were in 1960? Lots of folks have virtual businesses now, and we don't want our home address being part of the public business documentation. Also, since Kevin is a real estate guy, I would have liked to hear something about being more friendly to landlords. At least let landlords know that we will be able to have fair evictions once again. And Kevin mentioned nothing about the insane amounts of shoplifting happening in California. There is so much shoplifting in California due to the horrific Prop 47. Prop 47 basically decriminalized shoplifting. Come on, Kevin, we gotta talk about this. Also, we need to fix our broken ballot system. You know, our previous governor, Moonbeam Jerry Brown, added a gas tax without getting voter approval. And everyone was all up in arms over this. Well, we had the chance to repeal the gas tax, and we didn't do it. Why? Because it was written in the ballot like this:
Some roads will be left unrepaired, yes or no?
It was total manipulation. This has to stop. Fix our broken ballot system. Overall, though, I really like the general outline that Kevin has put forward. Kudos to you, Kevin, and thank you for stepping up to the plate with some common sense ideas. And if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe. Until next time, you guys are awesome.